Hey, what's up everybody? RPing with you. Tech Talk Live, daytraderradio.com. It is June 19th, Tuesday, of course. It's right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the show. If there's anybody out there at all, don't know, got a pretty lightweight chat room. I neglected to send out an email telling everybody it was going to be a show tonight. So what I thought I would do, since this is kind of a last minute thing, I've got some work to do tonight a little bit later, and I don't know how long it's going to take, so I thought I'd go over the top tips or top softwares, top tools, if you will, that I use on a daily, if not hourly basis, to diagnose common computer problems, networking problems, things like that. So these are some of the tools that I use in my profession, as you know, as a web host, as a server admin, as a Windows desktop admin, as a basic computer user, like the rest of you. And I thought I'd share some of these tips. Now, I know there's going to be some of you out there that have your own favorite tips that you have in mind, or favorite tools and favorite softwares that are out there. So if you guys have any of those you'd like to share with us, just let us know. It might be something that I've heard of, it may not. But if it's something you'd like to share with us, let us know. And I'm going to be starting a thread in the Day Trading Radio forum as well, with some of this same stuff. So if you feel free to follow up in that thread and post your links and your tips and stuff. Wanted to point out here, we had a UTS today, version 2.0, the second year of the UTS, and I had FT71 on with us, Futures Trader 71. It was a lot of fun. I want to thank him for helping out with that. I got a slight wedge drawn here on the futures, as you can see. It kind of broke down, violated that wedge, and we're back in it now. 1347 quarter is where we're at. And keep in mind, if you're watching this as a recording, you might look back and say, my goodness, why were we down that low? Depending on when you listen or watch this recording. But keep in mind, it is June 19th on 2012. So right here, right around 9 o'clock. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started on some of these tools. Probably one of my favorites, and this first thing I want to stick with, I guess, would be networking issues. A lot of people have problems, with internet connectivity. Whether you're on a some type of wireless network or a home network, or at a hotel or wherever you have it. A common thing, any weakness in your network connectivity to your computer shows up really easily and rears its ugly head, especially when you're trying to watch some sort of live, or listen or watch some sort of live stream, very much like you have with Day Trading Radio's stream that you're listening and watching right now if you're watching this show live. And I see Big Wave Rider, I see Preston in the room there. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome aboard for tonight's show. So live streaming is extremely difficult to maintain a steady stream without noticing some sort of a glitch. So that's always a concern for us. Also, too, a very stable and solid networking platform, all the way from your computer through the ISP to the in-host environment and back to you, is very important for streaming chart data. Anything that requires a continuous type of stream. Your chart data and stuff like that in real time is fault tolerant to some extent, because if something has to skip for a quarter of a second, it may not bother you because it'll catch up. Something like Skype audio or voice over IP with your telephone services, and certainly, like I just mentioned, Day Trading Radio streaming, live streaming shows, any type of live streaming shows, are going to show it up. Any problems that you might have in your networking they're going to show up a lot more, a lot easier, because you're going to hear it, or you're going to notice a freeze in the picture, or you're going to notice that rebuffering that we've all seen. Okay, so one way to diagnose that, there's an old school way and there's kind of an old school way. Okay, so I like the old school way, not the old school way. Let me tell you what I mean by that. All right, as you know, and then we're talking about networking right now, there's some tools out there that are available. Some of you don't know this or understand what any of this is about, but I'm going to, for those out there that know all about this already, then I'm sorry to bore you with it. For those out there that have never heard of this stuff, then hopefully you'll learn something, and I'll teach you a little something about networking. Hey, what's up, Tommy? The way our computers are connected together, okay, on the web. It's basically a series of a bunch of different routers or different computers that send your signal from one physical or geographic location to the next. Think of it like a highway, a web of highways with a bunch of stoplights and crossing intersections where you can go left or right or keep going straight. Okay, and all these different intersecting nodes in different segments in the internet. Not only geographically but electrically, they go in different places, and they branch out. It's very much like a spider web. There's more than one way to get from from point A to point B, based on the particular path. But nevertheless, regardless of that path, okay, there are different hops. We call them HOPS, hops. They're points of presence that are stations, if you will, or nodes, okay, routing points, intersections in the roadway, however you want to look at it, and that's counted as a particular hop. And usually there's some sort of measuring or metering devices available to the outside world, or us as customers, or us as the outside peering in. There's an available service that will reply whether or not, at least in some level, whether or not that particular node, intersection, whatever you want to call it, okay, is congested, or basically it will report its health back to us. Okay, when the architects of the internet built this thing, okay, and not every bit of it was built correctly. There's always improvements, in hindsight, and all that kicks in. But some of these very basic functionalities and these functions, these protocols, were developed for this diagnostics, okay, of determining the health of a particular network, or a particular node, or a particular intersection, whatever. Okay, one of those is ping. Okay, so a lesson for you guys might be you want to ping a server. Okay, you might have heard of ping my server, tell me, what you get, that type of thing. So, ping, right? What's ping? RPM was ping. So in Windows, I'm going over Windows 7 right now. Windows 7, you have something called a command prompt. All right. So you would go to your start menu and type CMD, and you get something that looks like this. Only yours, I almost guarantee you, will be black. You can customize this any way you want. And you have a program called ping, and I'm just going to type ping, and it says ping is not recognized as internal external command. I might be having some problems here. Hold on a minute. I may not have ping installed on this machine. Yeah, it isn't. Let me see it back here. No, don't do this to me. All right, so for the rest of you out there, you can use ping and type in the host name, and you'll get an answer. Let me get you to a machine that has ping on it, and I apologize for not realizing that. I'm going to log into a remote Windows 2008 server here. And what I'm going to do is show you ping on a default box. All right. So here's a default Windows installation right here. I'm going to go ahead and maximize for you this machine right here. It's connected at a data center. And as you can see, it looks like just a standard deal. Standard Windows 2008. Let me see if I can find a command prompt here. It's a little bit different than Windows 7, but basically the same same idea here. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to zoom in real quick on this so you can see what's happening here. Here's your command prompt. Now just pretend that, you know, we didn't go through all that other stuff where I was showing you, trying to show you from my local machine. We're going to show you this remote machine here. And we're just going to type in ping google.com, and hopefully we'll get something faster than 5 milliseconds here. So the time to Google is less than 1 millisecond. If you guys can see that, time is less than 1 millisecond, right? And there's our current IP address. All right. Google happens to have some answering services that are inside the same data center that I'm using at this particular server. This Windows 2008 server. So you can imagine, you know, you're going to get something back less than a millisecond, which is good, right? The basics of this is basically it sends out a ping, a ping message to the end server, or it could be a router as well. If it's trained to answer to IMCP packets, which are those type of packets using that protocol that we're talking about for diagnosis of the health of the particular connection, or the connection between, or the particular node in question, it will reply, reply to the ping. And that measurement, or there's a measurement between the times there and back, and you get an answer. In this case, is less than 1 millisecond. Let's find something that's far away here. Let's see. Ping Yahoo. I don't think they have anything close. There you go, 52 milliseconds to Yahoo. You see that? 52 milliseconds average to 42 that's in there. Is that a 42? That's a 42, and the rest of them are 52s. All right, let's try Day Trading Radio. Let's see. .com. And that's less than 1 millisecond. Of course, because I've got this particular server, it's really close to the Day Trading Radio server. It's within a mile of it. And electrically, through the particular internet connectivity and everything, it's a low latency, 100 gigabit circuit, and no problem getting it back in less than 1 millisecond. Now, all this really tells you is how long it takes for a packet to get to a server and to get back. Okay, let's try something else here. Let's try a trace route to, well, I tell you what, that's what ping does. All right, so we're done with ping, right? And this is using the command prompt in Windows 7. This is particularly Windows 2008, but same idea. And these are some little tools I want you guys to try at home. Just pick any host name you want. So just ping anything. Ping an IP address. An IP address like, here's a Google Resolver IP, 8.8.8.8. That's Google's DNS server that they use they give out to people. You can use this. It's a great DNS resolver. And I can ping that as well. And there's 3 milliseconds to that. Okay, so there's an example. Now, there's some other tools. There I'm typing clear like I'm in a Linux box here. Duh. Let's see. How do you get the page cleared? Anyways, pretend, just watch the bottom of your screen. What we're going to do next, we're going to do the next protocol, or the next internet diagnostic, kind of built-in diagnostic thing, and this determines really routes, and it determines it exposes a name that's assigned to IP addresses that are in a particular route from point A to point B, and it also gives you back a ping or real-time return answer in milliseconds in time, or in seconds if it's real bad, or from each one of those nodes. Okay, so let's do, and this is how you get there. TRACERT. Okay, that's trace route for short. TRACERT space, and we're going to do Yahoo because that one had 52 milliseconds. I'm assuming there's some hops in there. Okay, Yahoo.com, and we're going to hit enter, and this thing is going to spew out the answers. And there it is. It's coming out, and some of those are in the higher times. Now, I can tell you that these names right here are all part of the data center network that I use, are all under 1 millisecond in time. Then we have this Equinix, which is one of the providers that provides connectivity to the data center. It answered in 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds, and 2 milliseconds. Those are basically independent pings of each one of those now. All right, the very next one is where we start seeing some latency. And the very next one is one of the Yahoo's routers itself. It's named right here, as you can see. It's got Yahoo in it, and there's your IP address. And it answered in 48, 26, and 19, so all over the place. All right. Yes, it does pop 29. It has your girlfriend's old phone number now. Just pay attention, class. All right. So I guarantee it's in here. And then you have the next one, and there's all in Yahoo's network. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then number 5, this MUD here, which is a pretty common deal that you'll see a lot if you do this enough, like I do. You see it made it all the way to the Yahoo server, and the Yahoo server answered, and you had just a wide range of answers here between all these different nodes. Now these are routers, and this is probably some type of load balanced web server at the end. Okay, but needless to say, they all answered, and they answered, fairly respectably, well, not really, but they're all over the place when it got to Yahoo's data center. We could do the same thing with Google. So let's do a trace route to Google. And here we go. Now we're outside the data center. And what we're having now is a DNS resolution that did not occur. So it paused, and it just gave us the IP address. It's all right. They don't have to have reverse DNS lookups to give us the actual physical name. These just answered with some IP addresses. But you can see everything was less than a millisecond until it got to the end here. It was 1 millisecond in time. And there's the proxy or the node for Google. All right, so that's traceroute. Now, while we're on that one, what I would like to do, those are two very basic things. Now, let's give you an example of live stream, okay? Because a lot of us have problems with live stream, or we're concerned about live stream's connectivity, all that good stuff. And there's an answer from live stream in 6 milliseconds, which is very good. But you can see here this particular network layer that we wound up with here. I don't even know who that is. Is that 11NW or whatever that is, .net? Hard for me to right off the hand, tell you who that is. But as you can see, that it was a little slow on 2 of the returns, but for the most part, 6 milliseconds was fine. Now, the node that we'll actually be grabbing our video from is CDN, Content Delivery Network.livestream.com, and that'll probably come back with an entirely different IP address here. Let's see. And you can see that's using Akamai Technologies, of course, like we've talked about so many times. We've got a direct connection to them through Equinix. And it's relatively low latency, 1 millisecond to that. Okay. Now this is from a high bandwidth data center server. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead now and show you, while we're on this particular machine, I'm going to go ahead and show you example of my second favorite tool. And that's speedtest.net. Now, I actually host a Speedtest Mini. They have one called the Speedtest. Hey, evening, Learjet. Good to see you. Something called Speedtest Mini, and it's at rpmws.com/ST for speed test. And it's just a little mini speed test tool like this. All right. And I'm going to hit begin test. And it's going to take off. It's going to do its thing. And it just did about a half a gigabit there. And the upload was about 222. So it's congested night. Let's try one in Richmond, Virginia. And this is their website, speedtest.net. All right. And we're going to begin a test here. It's going to pick a recommended server in Richmond, Virginia. and it's going to do its thing here. Let me try to make the there we go. So we just got 600 megabits out of that one, and about 260 out of the 260 upload, right? And it gives you a whole bunch of different servers that you can pick from. You can click new server. It'll grab another one, and it'll do a run here, begin test, and it'll pick another server somewhere, and it'll run a test on that. This is a very good tool to just determine your speed. Now, I don't suggest that you base these results on there's nobody in the chat room and nobody's going to watch this video that's going to get these kind of speeds. Okay, unless you've got, you're sitting at a data center somewhere with multiple gigabit connectivity. It's not going to happen. Expect anywhere between 500K and say 10 megabits with DSL. Expect anywhere from say 5 megabits to, they've got them all the way up to 50 megabits for cable. And for things like FiOS, you can expect near identical speeds up and down with some accounts, and anywhere from 5 megabits to 100 megabits for fiber connections, FiOS and whatnot. Obviously this one's smoking, and if I was to retune some of the TCP settings, I could probably show you close to a gigabit there. Again, there's this is the little speed test mini at rpmws.com/st. It's just a hosted version, a mini version of the speedtest.net site right here. This is a great tool. There's Raker saying he just downloaded at 15.9 and he uploaded at 5.26 with FiOS. So he's probably got a 15 megabit connection with Verizon, and he's probably limited at 5 megabits upload, and that would be consistent with what we're seeing him get there. Now, here's one right here in Wilson, North Carolina that we're hitting right now, and you can see where the weak point is. They're only giving us about 82 megabits, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute. And we're going to probably get something similar to that for the upload, and we're going to see about half that. In this particular case, we know that our download connection at this server obviously will do well over 100 megabits. This server we just hit more than likely has a 100 megabit network card or 100 megabit maximum throughput configured on that particular server that we're using. I mean, obviously these companies give this away for free. It's expensive bandwidth for people to just use it over and over and over, right? So they're giving it away, and probably their system is limited to 100. We used 82 of it. Okay, I'm gonna go back here. I'm gonna run mine again here. Just easy, done. Let's see. But it's a speedtest.net, and this is a really good external tool. I see Tomahawk in the room there getting basically 5 upload and 25 download, and that's pretty typical for the average ISP. I'm going to pick Richmond, Virginia again. I'm going to stop this thing because I don't want to go directly to the page. But you can actually click somewhere if you want. You can click somewhere on the map here, which is cool, and pick somewhere in that geographical area. Let's see, this one is actually this one is really close to where I am physically located right here. And you can see that was pretty darn fast. 607 and uploaded 260, but they're going to vary, and they're going to be based off of particular network connectivity conditions throughout the entire range of all the different hops that we talked about by using Traceroute. We showed you how to do that. All right, I'm going to log out of that server and back to our Tech Talk Live home screen here. So I've demonstrated ping and Traceroute, and obviously speedtest.net. And then if you want to use mine, it's rpmws.com/st. You don't have to worry about all the advertising and all that stuff that's on there. It's a nice little quick, lightweight one. You can use that on your iPhone and stuff. Actually, it runs on Flash, so you couldn't. You'd have to use it on your Android if you wanted. There's also an app for both the iPhone and the Android-based smartphones. Now, let's take it up to the current century we're in. And now let's get to a tool that's very similar, but it takes it to a whole nother level. And I'm going to hide some of these host names that are on here because some of them are customers. But for now, I'm just going to show you a tool called Ping Plotter. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace route to just one of my servers. It's quick and easy to trace to, rpmws.com. And here's what we have: is we have an ongoing graph of this particular deal. Now, in my particular case, I have limiters on my actual servers that say you can only ping but so many times, and then it starts giving you red packet loss. All right, as you can see, it's happening there at the end of the deal. I'm also broadcasting the show right now, and when I'm broadcasting the show, my network connectivity here is going to be extremely stressed out. So these results are terrible. All right, but as far as me dropping some packets here at the end, it's because I've got my firewall, my adaptive firewall at my server at the data center configured to not answer to but so many per minute. I got this thing set about one every half seconds. The cool thing about Ping Plotter, and they have a free version at pingplotter.com. The cool thing about Ping Plotter is it allows you to run this graph for as long as you want. And you can right click and you can set for it's very much like graphs on a chart. You got 48 hours worth, you got 60 seconds worth, you got 5 minutes worth. You can change that, okay? And you can go up here to decide. Let's say in this particular case, let's say you thought that there was a problem at the server. Well, if you were to send me this screenshot right here, the first thing that I would think is, wow, there's a problem at this master.rpmservers.com. Look at all the packet loss. And then I would look at the rest of the network and I would say, wow, it's pretty clear. So the problem is at the end here, right? Now, like I told you, in my case, I'm blocking these type of packets past a certain number. The cool thing about it is you can go back in time and you can right click on these and you can say, watch this host or show this timeline graph, and you can add these graphs in here and you can see in time what the heck happened. You can see, like, if in this particular case, let's say my ISP was failing me, well, they would be up here near the top of the chain. If they were failing me in this particular case, I'd see red starting here, and then I would see red in all the way down, because there's no way for these to answer if the one between me and that particular hop that I'm expecting a clean answer from is not completely healthy. It may not pass the packets all the way through. So it's a chain reaction effect. What will happen is you'll wind up with problems all the way down and then just a terrible result at the end as well. What this does, very much like traceroute, not only does it expose the actual physical route and where these things go, it does it over and over and over again and graphs it out for you so you can determine, especially great for intermittent problems, you can determine where your weakness is. Is it at your ISP, which is usually within the first 2 or 3 hops? Is it at the first hop, which would be maybe a wireless router in your home or your office, which is giving you problems? Or is it the actual host at the end, okay, where it might be congested or slow? Okay, so pingplotter.com, I love it. You can buy the, I use that 12, 15, 20 times a day, just helping people diagnose packet loss. It's great. I love it. There's some other tools out there that are similar to it, but I haven't found one better than Ping Plotter. It's been around for 12 years, and I've had it and use it probably every single day. There has not been a day that I have not had Ping Plotter open. There's another tool that they have called Multi-Ping. It kind of does the same. Excuse me. Kind of does the same thing, only it pings multiple servers and kind of keeps track of all your servers or all your ping points that you want to hit to monitor. Okay. So there's Ping Plotter, Ping, Traceroute, and Speedtest, with Ping Plotter winning out for networking, Speedtest.net winning out for a quick and easy browser-based speed test of your network to determine your bandwidth of your particular connection. And by the way, your connectivity and your speed and your throughput and your lack of latency or lack of jitter and lack of stability in all of those hops all around the way will completely change your overall experience with your internet your internet activity, especially with video. So if you have frequent pauses, in video, or pauses in the audio on Day Trader Radio, or if you have frequent problems on YouTube, or you have to hit refresh a lot on web pages, a blanket of different web pages and web services, if that happens to you, more than likely your problem is with your ISP. And if you were to run Ping Plotter, you would find packets being dropped, and you'd find that red packet loss close to you, or close to the top of that chart. Okay, in your neighborhood maybe, or 2 or 3, 4 hops away. All right, if you were only having problems with a couple of sites, okay, then the chances of it might be, that the problems are with, those providers, ISPs, okay, at the data centers. Now, having said that, I do not mean that, some people come to us and say, I never have skipping audio or video problems except for when I'm watching Day Trader Radio. You got to understand something. Live streaming is an entirely different animal than YouTube. Just to make a disclaimer there. When you go to YouTube and you start watching a YouTube video, it is downloaded in its entirety, usually within 1 minute of you starting to watch it. So if your internet was to get a big hiccup, or somebody parked their truck on the hose, so if you will, and they could park it there for 59 seconds and then move it, and you've already built up a whole minute's worth of buffer inside your player. Okay, so you won't notice that. With live streaming, it's impossible for me to allow you to download what's going to happen a minute from now. If we could do that, then we would be great traders, wouldn't we? Because we would know the future. You're watching something that was just created as I'm saying it, and you might be 5 seconds behind. So that buffer that's built in, that normally masks, okay, a imperfect internet connection, like that buffer that's built into YouTube, we can't make that buffer but so long, because then it's no longer live, right? And if we make it too short, it exposes weaknesses in the overall internet connectivity between the live stream content delivery network server node and your ISP, and ultimately your computer. So we can't, there's always a balance there. We want to keep it live, so we got to try to keep it in 3 to 5 seconds to absorb any natural jitter that's in the networking connection. But we can't give you the whole file to download, and so you'll watch it uninterrupted like YouTube does. So that's the differences, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing I can tell you is put your house on a FiOS connection and put it right next to one of the live stream nodes, and then you'll have a ½ second buffer, and you'll never have a blip or no problems unless the power goes out or your computer dies. Everybody else, you have to deal with internet latency that's built into geographical distances, and there's nothing you can do about it. Can it be improved upon? Yes, but you can't get any better than the very best, which is the amount of time it takes for the package to get from the live stream node to you physically. And for example, people with satellite connections, you're looking at a second to get up there and a second to get back. So instead of it being 15, 20 milliseconds, you're talking about 2,000 milliseconds. Okay, so there's just physical limitations to some of this stuff. Okay, so and that's pretty crazy, Cat Fixer. 1.5 megabits down and 7.5 megabits up. That is actually kind of typical for wireless 4G and stuff. I have a 4G LTE connection with Verizon, and I've got videos on my YouTube channel where I was downloading at 26 megabits and uploading at 28, which is just absolutely insane for a cell phone. But anyways, so that's the basics of bandwidth. That's some simple tools. Ping plotter can do wonders if you're fighting with your ISP to try to tell them, listen, there's a problem, and it's an intermittent problem. You've got that graph. You can take a snapshot of that graph and you can say, look here, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, it died on me. It was good all the way down, until this point, or it was good until the second or third hop, and then it didn't do anything after that, and all websites didn't work, and it lasted for 36 minutes and 19 seconds according to this graph, and then like magic somebody flipped a switch and it came back. You can show them that that track record right there, and they can't, there's nothing, they can't refute it. It's right there, right? So Ping plotter, it's great. Speed test, like I said, is great to find your overall bandwidth or your maximum throughput at that particular time as you're running it. Also, watching that little needle to see if it jumps up and down a lot can kind of determine whether or not you're having some jitter or some inconsistency, in particular connection. So that's pretty cool. If it stays really solid and it slams to a certain point and just stays there, usually means you got a really rock solid connection, right? Fios came with Motorola. I think Fios is a fiber connection raker, I think. Motorola modem, maybe you're talking about. Just reading the chat room here. All right, so I wanted to keep this quick, so I can't believe I've already got 38 minutes into this thing. Now, for some basic tools, and I'm running this all off of my head here. I'm just kind of closing my eyes and just trying to remember everything that I had written down in my head. The next tool, if you get blue screens of death, there's Working Man. I think it's like $24.95 or unlimited license. It takes you forever. It lasts forever. You don't ever have to update or anything like it. It's well worth it. There's a free version too. It's the Ping plotter free, and if you don't register, a little box pops up every time you try to run a new ping. And it will tell you, register now or just wait 20 seconds, and then you can hit the thing. It works pretty cool. You can turn on all of the different graphs. You right-click each of them, turn on all the different graphs, all the way up the chain to wherever you're pinging to. You can also change like how many samples to go, like how long intervals. If you leave it to set to just one, it'll just ping one time. But you can leave it to unlimited numbers. So as long as you leave it running, it'll keep going for you. And you can put it like at 1 second intervals to really, get really fine-tuned high resolution on the network. And you can minimize it, just leave it running for days. And then go back to it and look at which graphs, screwed up, running traces to Google is probably good for most people to determine whether or not, their ISP is any good. But yeah, you guys experiment with it. It's great. I got thousands of Ping plotter images I have saved, and stored up in different cases that I've had to work on. I've been doing that with the members too for now a couple of years, trying to help them out with Ping plotter. All right, so that's by Nestsoft. It's pretty good, entry level. It's not super. I'm not going to cover the really expensive, multi-thousand-dollar tools that I use. They're just out of your budgets, and a lot of the features and everything like firmware detection, physical location identification, and all that stuff, and layer 2 stuff, and there's no need to even show you that. That Ping plotter will do a lot for you. What's available out there, as far as protocols, and exploiting those protocols and what available data is there for you to arm yourself. Okay, now I was going to get into blue screens, right? So we have a blue screen of death in Windows. Macs don't have it, Linux doesn't have it, but Windows has blue screen of death, or the BSOD. By the way, Tomahawk, I want to mention here, the futures here at 1347. Do you remember, Tommy, when I was talking on the phone with you, investor, earlier, actually on Skype right after the market closed, or actually it's probably around 6 o'clock, I guess it was. Do you remember that we were riding right here in this area, and I had drawn this wedge in, and I asked Vester, I said, Vester, do you think we're going to go up and we're going to tag that trend line, which I already had in there, And keep in mind now, I had this point drawn in, this point drawn in, and it extended down, and this was not here yet. So basically, from this point on, it was not here yet. This was the end of the chart right here. Okay, now all of this is coming to play. And I asked him, I said, what's going to happen here? Are we gonna go up and we're gonna break through this pivot right here, and we're gonna touch that eventually, or are we gonna break down? And I said, we're gonna go up and we're gonna touch that, but we may not break through it, even though it's kind of a wedge. And he said he thought we were gonna break down. Well, we were both right, but I was right to get to the top first instead of breaking down and hitting the bottom and then retesting the top. Anyways, I thought that was pretty cool. Patterns work, guys. All right, so let's back to the tech stuff. For those out there that are just interested in the tech thing, but you're wondering what the hell am I talking about with this chart, that was an S&P E-mini futures chart of the S&P market, or ES-mini market, and we do that and we cover that and try to make money every day as a group on daytradingradio.com, of course, and that's what it's all about for us. But the tech stuff fits right in because we all need to keep our computers and understand our networking and everything, because we are extremely reliant on the internet, computers, monitors, technology to get this trading done. So that's the reason why this show is, I feel, is important. Anyways, so back to blue screen of death. You guys know what the blue screen of death is. Unfortunately, most of you do. It usually indicates some sort of serious problem with the hardware, something's failing or whatever. One of the most common things that can go wrong in your computer is something wrong with the RAM or the memory in your computer. Either the socket that the RAM is plugged into has gotten dirty, or there's some static on it, or there's a half an inch of dust sitting across the chips that are on the particular memory stick. There could be some capacitors that are starting to go bad on the motherboard or in the power supply. The voltage ain't high enough on the system, and maybe the memory's not, really doing a very good job, or is inconsistent, at that voltage, or for that matter, the motherboard could be having a problem with it as well. There's all sorts of things. There's reasons to test your memory. All right. One of the best tools that I have found is actually written by Microsoft. Go figure. It's called Windows RAM Tester. Now, I don't have this bookmark because I'm just pulling this show completely out of my head. But we're going to go to it's Google here, and we're going to search for the Windows RAM Tester. And you get this link right here, Microsoft Online Crash Analysis thing here, Windows Memory Diagnostic User Guide. Now, the funny thing about the Windows Memory Diagnostic, or the Windows RAM Tester, the funny thing about it is it has nothing to do with Windows. This is a tool that you basically download, and you take the ISO or you take the download file that's on here, and you burn a bootable CD, or you can actually make a bootable USB drive, I think, as well. It has some options for the way you control the way it runs and all that stuff. But basically, and I can't show you, I did a show on this before where I did share the screenshot from another machine as it was running. But basically, you burn a disk, and as you burn that disk, it completes. When you're done completing the disk, you reboot your computer into this disk. And the way you would do that is you would, well, a lot of machines are already designed to boot to a bootable CD if there's a bootable CD in the CD drive. If not, you'll want to go into your computer's BIOS, and that's a whole nother story right there for another show. You go into your computer's BIOS, and you select in the boot options for it to boot to the CD first. You reboot the computer, it boots up in the Windows RAM Tester, and I forget if this one actually has a menu for what you need to select, but I think it runs by itself. Alright, so just let it eat. Go mow your lawn, cut whatever you want to call it, cut your grass, go watch a movie or whatever. Let the thing go all weekend, okay? And it will tell you, it'll torture test that RAM, and it'll tell you if it found anything wrong with specifically your RAM. If it does, take the stuff out, blow the dust off, and that's something else too with computers in general. You need to get some compressed air and you need to blow the things out as often as possible, really, to keep them cool and to keep the dust out. The dust will ruin a computer. The static and all that, especially in dry climates, is horrible. But perhaps take out the RAM if it's showing that one of the sticks is potentially faulty or throwing a lot of errors. Take out the RAM, clean the actual gold-plated contacts on it, take some air, blow out the sockets, put the RAM back in, run it a couple of times. If it turns out good after you do that, you really torture test it again and again and again, and it turns out good, then you probably fixed the problem, put the thing back together, and you're back in business. And that's Windows RAM Tester. There's another one that does a very good job, and it's called MEMTest 86. Let me search for that. MEMTEST 86. MEMTest 86. And it's actually a website, MEMTest 86 Memory Diagnostics. Same thing. It's basically a CD. It's free, I think. Wait a minute. This is the one that they're charging for. This might be a ripoff site. Oh, no. That's if you want to download, if you want to buy the disc. Free download right here. That's what you want. Totally free. You extract that and you put it on your a CD that's bootable. You basically, and here it is, the ISO and USB packages include a boot menu that allows you to selection of different current version and one or more of the other previous versions. So this is well tested, well used MEMTest 86. It was called 86 not because it was made in 1986, but it was called 86 because it runs on the Intel 86 architecture, the x86 architecture. That's how old it is. We're still using the same kind of basic stuff. So cool. MEMTest 86 does the same thing. Windows RAM Tester, I just happen to like it a little bit more. All right. Next, and I'm getting a little hoarse here. Let me take a sip. Question in the chat room while we take this little break. Working Man's asking dumb question. This is not a dumb question, by the way. Do laptops get the same dust problem like tower computers do? Absolutely. They get clog slam up with dust so bad that the fans don't turn anymore, and you think you got yourself a heater in your lap with absolutely no fan. It's not making any noise, and then it just turns into a melted brick. If you can take the laptop apart and blow out the dust, that's good. Usually they have some fins or some slots on the sides and the back. If you can run some air through there, get something out of there, it's always a good idea. Dust is the biggest. It's horrible. It's like rust on a car. Once it starts collecting, it gets worse. Unfortunately, these things are designed to where you suck air into them. The air cools everything. It's an ongoing basis. Unless you're in a completely dust-free, sterile environment, you're going to get dust in a computer. Hell, I've been in labs before where people wear white coats and get decontaminated on the way in and on the way out. And I have taken a computer out of one of these places before from a plastic suit with duct tape holding everything on me, had to wrap up the computer inside of a trash bag and leave, and got it home, and there was dust inside of it, of the computer. These things attract dust. Dust gets in the components, and I'm talking about what was supposed to be like one of the highest levels of clean rooms there is, like almost at the point where the room where they make the actual chips that go into things, and the computer that's in there that they're using is, you get dust on it. Now, it wasn't an Intel lab or nothing, but it felt like it to me. Okay, it was a clean room. It had dust in the computer. And Cat Fixer saying hair is the worst enemy for cat fixers. Cat hair is horrible for computers, and I have that problem as well. So definitely blow out and I don't have a tool for that other than an air compressor or a can of air. And just be careful, don't bang on any components with if you're using a big air compressor and stuff. So we did the memory test. That will expose any faults in the RAM, and believe it or not, RAM does go bad. Often it goes bad, you realize it's going bad within the first 30 days of building a computer or buying a new computer. Usually it lasts for a long time, but sometimes it will go bad. Heat will destroy just about anything. Let's see here. Antivirus, I hate it all. If you had to use something in real time, I would recommend a non-commercial version of AVG. That's the only one that I actually have running on a computer in my house that I think might pass the test. Other than that, real-time antivirus is going to use 75% of your computer resources and basically act as a virus. And by that, I mean something that won't go away, bugs you all the time, throws pop-ups, slows down your computer, and is doing something you wish it didn't, like block stuff and not tell you that it blocked it. I hate commercial antivirus, but if you had to pick something that wasn't really commercial, or at least not really mainstream, and at least they had a free version, I would say AVG antivirus. For the rest of us out there, run with your pants down. That way, when the breeze blows in either direction, you'll feel it. If not, you're just going to be carrying around a big sponge full of a bunch of gunk that's going to slow down your computer. All right, you want to know when you have an infection. And what I mean by that is I've had to remove antivirus softwares before to get rid of really bad infections that were basically running inside of active machines, and then I had to use other third-party free tools to get rid of those terrible viruses. And there's members in our chat room right now that know exactly who I'm talking about. Really bad stuff. And I just think I've seen that happen. Well, Learjet's one of them. Yeah, I forgot about him. I don't think he was running Norton or McAfee. I just don't like them. Now, if somebody from McAfee or Norton wants to contact me and give me a demonstration of their newer products and show me how they've improved or gotten better, I'm all ears. Okay? But until then, or until they can show me how they can give me back the other 75% of my computer that they use up the resources just to run, to do nothing but aggravate me, then as far as I'm concerned, they are viruses. The only difference is you pay for them. I like Malwarebytes, okay? This is what I like. And no, you can run it in real time, but I actually prefer just to run the dang thing about once every 2 or 3 days, or if I ever think I went to a website and the browser acted weird. Another thing, Google Chrome. Stop using Internet Explorer, period. Google Chrome now has the majority of the market share. It took over and smashed Internet Explorer into the ground in a matter of 2.5 years. Okay? So Google Chrome or Firefox. Firefox is a great open source browser, a truly open source browser. Okay, it's a great browser as well. But I like Chrome because it's fast, it's lightweight, it has Adobe's Flash built in it, running natively in the core. So you don't have to download and install Adobe's Flash. So I like it for that reason. I like it for its versatility, its ease of use, its syncability between computers, and all that good stuff. I just like Google Chrome. It's built on Apple's WebKit, and I like Safari as well. So Apple's Safari is a good browser. Google Chrome, same thing. It's becoming the standard, not the weird one. Okay, so let me show you Malwarebytes. It's at malwarebytes.org. The web page will look like this. And you can download it, and it'll ask you, do you want to agree to a free trial? Hit no. And it'll run forever in regular standalone mode where you'll actually run the thing when you feel like it. Okay? It does a great job cleaning up your computer, and it will alert you when there's problems. Another one I like is superantispyware.com. Just remember that one. Superantispyware.com. It's another one of those tools that you will run to make sure your computer's clean. It's like changing the oil in your car. Only you want to run this a lot more. Okay? And if you decide to go with a commercially available real-time product, Malwarebytes has that as well. If you decide to go with that, I don't know if anybody's using it, if they like it or not. I know that it has to use some resources in real time to hurt your performance, but I would have to say that it must, without knowing for sure, but it must be better than some of those others. If it's anything like their scanner, then it's probably decent. The other one is Windows Defender. It's a free one. And it's It's actually, excuse me, Microsoft's Security Essentials. Microsoft Security Essentials. You can download this. Just go to Google, type it in, and I've got mine, the automatic stuff turned off right now. But you can update just like this. Here's a history of stuff that's happened on this system. It hasn't found any items yet in 2 years because I use Malwarebytes. But this is a good one that you can turn on and it will run in real time. Will it stop everything? No. There's stuff that's being written right now that will go right through that and probably take its gun from it, bash it over the head, and shoot it in the back of the head, and you won't even realize it's down on your taskbar and it's dead. You know, they write viruses to attack this stuff and kill it. You know, does it seem to be pretty good? I've been using it for a while. It's never found anything. I'm assuming it's working. I don't know, but a lot of people like it. It's Microsoft Security Essentials. It is free, so you can't beat that. They're trying, right? So that's for antivirus and kind of, you know, worm protection type of stuff. There's some other good ones out there. And there's Working Man asking me about Microsoft Security Essentials, and I think it's a good thing. It's worth a try. Why not use it? There's Cat Fixer saying he uses Avast. I have heard good things about Avast antivirus as well. So, hey, what's up, Trade Free Diehard? So I would definitely say that would be another one. The last thing that I want to recommend, I just wanted to make this a quick hour because this is going up on the YouTube channel. It just might be a good show you might want to check out every once in a while. For those that are watching it from the YouTube channel, thank you. We appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. Definitely check out daytradingradio.com. And maybe check out you know, a premium membership or a free trial with Day Trading Radio. But definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're first watching us for the first time here. The last thing, and I want to thank you everybody from watching Day Trading Radio chat room and all. The last thing I want to recommend is a Windows resource meter. Okay, in Windows 7 you can just type resources inside of the search box under all programs, and you'll get a box that looks like this. This is great for finding out what the hell is going on your computer right then, right? So in my particular case, you can see I just had a burst of internet connectivity pulled in at a whole megabit here just now. But basically this is, I've got it on the network tab here. Here's an overview. And the overview shows me my CPU percentage is about 30% here, 28, 30%, 23%. It'll graph the CPU. The CPU graph is up here on the top. It'll show you that, you know, I've got some headroom here. I got a lot of programs running. I'm also encoding the show in real time. And also storing one to the hard drive. Here's the disk drive here. You can see as reading and writing to the disks. That's a summary. Okay. You can see your network utilization, and right now it's automatically scaled to 1 megabit. Because my outgoing bandwidth isn't at, it needed more than 400K right now, and the 1 megabit ones are when I download web pages and stuff. And here's the memory. It's just kind of flatlined right now with not a whole lot going on. Over here on the left, you can narrow these down to which programs are using what, right? And what you can do, you can go to CPU if you want and filter just by CPU. And here's all 8 of my CPUs in here, and you can see all 8 CPUs and which ones are being used for what, and you can see how they're all handshaking and handing off different threads and different processes to try to balance the load on this Windows system. Here's the memory. In this particular one, I think I got, what, 8 meg? How many gigs I got in this thing? 16 gigs. I got a total of 16 gigs of memory in this one. Yep. 384 megabytes, 16 gigs. And you can see the memory usage. Here's the disk usage. It'll show you the particular things that are doing it. Here's back to the network. You can see all the different processes that are running that are doing that. And here's the overview again, all the different processes. I love this tool. It's built into Windows. It's designed specifically for Windows. It's very similar to Top. For you Linux guys out there, I might as well share a quick Linux tip. If you don't know this Linux tip, something's really wrong. But in Linux, when you log in as a shell or you go to your terminal, you can hit top space -C, hit enter, and you can basically watch all the processes that are happening on a server, very similar to what's going on with the Windows deal right here. With the difference being it tells you how long it's been up for, 16 days, that type of thing, how many logged in users, your load averages, which are great for the 15-minute to 5-minute and the 1-minute time frames here. It shows you everything that's happening on the server at any one given time, and that's using top. That's for Linux, for those Linux guys out there. Oh, also too, while I'm at it, if I'm in Linux, another cool thing is iftop. ETH1 iftop is a cool thing to show you all the different connected machines. Here's all the different connected people that are connected to Day Trading Radio server right now. If everyone was to refresh their pages right now or refresh something on Day Trading Radio site, you'd see this pop up a lot more. More things going on here, but you see people here in Southern California. Here's somebody on Suddenlink. Here's somebody in Texas. Here's somebody in Florida. Somebody at cableonline.com. I don't know where that's at, but you can see all the different connections. The top one here is the one that's using up the most. There's somebody at Shaw Cable in Canada, for example. The ones at the top here are the ones that are using up the most, but it just kind of gives you an idea of all the connected people that are connected to this Linux system. There's another one called Matt's Trace Route, MTR, and then wherever you want to go to, google.com. And it does very similar to Ping Plotter, and it does similar to Traceroute. Traceroute does the trace one time. MTR does it over and over and over and over again until you stop it. Very much like Ping Plotter, but it's done in a text format. It keeps track of your percentages of your packet loss, your averages, your worst, and your best on your ping times, and it resolves all your host names for you. So it's done right there for you. You don't have to resolve the host names if they're not already resolved. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. It's been a full hour and 5 minutes of the RPM tech tips, tools, and items that you can use on a daily basis. Diagnose your computers, your hardware, diagnose your networking, clean up your computers, do all that stuff. I want to give a big shout out to TykeSupply.com. Use promo code RPM to knock another 5% off your orders if you order through them. Show them support. They show us support. They've been with me now doing these tech shows for about a year and a half, almost 2 years maybe. TykeSupply.com. Great prices, great people, great products. So I want to thank them again, TykeSupply.com. So with that, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Market will rally again, as Internetal says, as soon as I'm out of here. Big shout out to FT71 for doing the Ultimate Trader Showdown 2.0 with us this afternoon. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing that. Look for bigger and better and greater things and more great things with Day Trading Radio. And we appreciate your memberships and your listening and your watching Tech Talk Live as well. Take care, everybody. RPM signing off this June 19th, Tuesday, 2012. Good luck in the markets. Take care.